here. I have the first part of my August 2013 spread in my scrapbook album. It took me a little over an hour to complete. I will have the second part of this in another video. I like to split them up because, it takes me quite a while to do them, so I don't want to try to rush through it. I want you to be able to see the whole process and not have to watch a 50-minute video to see it happen. So I'm just trimming my photos first. I have, of course, already got them printed from Snapfish, like I've mentioned many times before. I keep the white border on them until I'm ready to scrapbook them, and I figure out exactly what I'm going to do with them and if I even need to trim them. I do squared corners in the top and the bottom, and then rounded corners on the middle row. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that last year I think it was last year. I actually did, no, I guess it was about a year and a half ago. I did all the title cards for my 2013 Project Life style spread. That was before I actually started it. I probably won't do it again, but it was kind of a nice way to break into it. It gave me a small project to do without being completely overwhelmed. And that's kind of how I drew the colors of this layout. It has some deep reds, and then it has some teals and yellows, and I'm going to use those throughout this spread so it's cohesive with the title card. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use this bottom left photo as a 3x4 print or to cut up a 4x6 photo. Both of the pictures on the bottom row were from my phone, and so they're really not the best quality. And it was actually from an old phone. This again was 2013, so this was before, at the time the pictures were really good, but now compared to the quality now, it's like night and day. It's nothing really to be proud of, honestly. But I like to get the photos in here, whether they're awesome quality or if they're just, snapshots. Either way, I just want them in there. So I'm cutting down this paper. I did not really have any thought process as to what I wanted when I started this layout, so I'm going to kind of play around with a couple different things. I like this sticker from this Fancy Pants sticker sheet that says "Born to be Wild," because, yeah, my child is wild. That is for sure. And you can tell by the photo on the left, he's like growling at the camera, and it's going to say, it's definitely going to say that on here. This says "Crazy Boy." I cut out the part of me putting most of the part of me putting these stickers on here because these are tiny type alphas from Cosmo Cricut, and they are a perfect size, but I wanted to have "Crazy Boy" on there, and it's a very small label. So I cut off a lot of the excess on either side of the alpha on the tile, so I can be able to fit that in there. And then I kind of staggered them up and down so they kind of bounce. It's like a bouncing line almost. Using my corner rounder on this small scrap of paper just to add a little bit more of that blue up there, just to kind of keep the colors cohesive throughout. So this card's pretty much done. It just says "Born to be Wild," and then it says "Crazy Boy," and it's got the arrows pointing towards the photo. And the photo on the left here is going to kind of re-emphasize what he's doing, which is kind of like growling. Decided to add one more thing here, and I'm just adding some little rhinestones. I'm cutting them apart from a piece that says "ho ho ho" that I'm never going to use. So I'm cutting out the rhinestones, and this is to bring in the rhinestones that are on the title card. I wanted to, again, like I said, make it cohesive throughout, so I want to make sure that that title card matches the rest of the layout. Kind of trying to figure out a piece here to cover up that corner spot. There's just some stuff in the layout, in the photo, that's a little bit distracting. And sorry for Kaylin's hands. He likes to see his hands on camera, and he can see the screen as it's recording, so he's kind of dancing his hands in front of the camera there just to be able to see it. Oh, and then he's showing you guys this photo of me from when I'm a baby that will eventually be scrapbooked. But he's just kind of being him at the moment, trying to be in the camera. So I'm going to cut out some banner shapes here to use to cover up that spot up on the top of the photo. I had to to stop and do some like play with him for a little bit, because I think the whole reason he was wanting to be on camera was just to kind of be with me. So it was a little bit distracting. So I just turned off the camera, went and played with him for a little bit, and then came back here later to finish this layout. See, those banners work perfectly. It covers up the shelf that's in the photo that's kind of distracting, and then it adds to the little photo as well. I took this camera that's wood. It's a wood grain camera with a red heart in the middle, and then I took a cream paper, and then that red paper, well, it's the red is on one side, the cream is on the other, and then I made the little banners. And then I'm going to take this jelly bean soup flashcard and put it on here as well. It just says picture perfect. I just cut it down a little bit and then rounded the corners just so you could see the caption without it being so much blank space on there. Again, I'm going to cut some of these rhinestones off. I never thought I was a huge rhinestone person before, but they're a really small piece. They don't add a lot of bulk. They're actually smaller than enamel dots, so it's kind of a nice thing to have. So I took the title card out and trimmed it down a little bit just so I can have a little bit of a white border so that it matches the rest of the layout. Okay, now moving down to this bottom card. I think I'm going to settle on the larger photo, or the more zoomed in photo. This is the 4x6 photo that I cut apart, or trimmed down rather. I guess I'm having a difficult time narrating today. I don't know why, but I feel a little bit, maybe I don't know. Well, excuse me either way. I'm sorry. So it's going to say roar here, and these are some alphas that I've had for a while. They're actually a brown wood grain, and I had a hard time using them when I got them because they just, I don't know, they didn't seem to match anything that I had, and I wasn't really sure what to use them for. So I'm going to use this washi tape under them to give them a little bit of a base, because it was too stark white to have it just based on the white. So the red on top is going to complete the card, and the gold washi tape is going to give a base for those acetate alphas. And it's just going to say roar, and then I'm going to use these black alpha stickers right there. They're actually recollections, and I have probably 4 or 5 sets of them. They're a really good size. They're not hard to read. They have uppercase and lowercase as well as numbers. They're a really good set for extremely affordable price. So I'm going to use them to write the rest of what I want to say on here. Having a difficult time with this last R. And then of course I'm getting glue everywhere as I do this. But that's just one of the things of scrapbooking. As you can see, this one, I've used it a lot. And so I'm going through there first to see if there's any stickers on there that I can use before I use one of my newer sets. Putting stickers all over my hand as I find them. I'm starting at the bottom so I can try to get the spacing right. And I apologize if placing these alpha stickers is tedious to you, but it's probably one of the harder parts of the scrapbooking to actually get done, is to place these alpha stickers in a way that's pleasing. So it says, "Let me hear you roar." And then I'll put an exclamation point at the end using the same thing. Well, I put, "Let me hear you," and then ... roar. I don't know if he was actually roaring at the time, but that sure is what I thought of when I went back and I saw these photos. I saw the picture of him kind of growling, and then a picture of him with his mouth wide open. So I'm just going to assume that he was either roaring or yelling or something like that, because that is something Kaylin would do. So what I'm having a bit of difficulty here with is I chose an exclamation mark off of one sticker sheet because I only had one left on it, and then I went to go get another one off of another sticker sheet, and they were different sizes. So I had to take the original one off and then get two that were the same size. I don't know why they were different sizes, but they were. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of journaling at the top here. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I want to add to this card. I don't always do captions with alpha stickers, but for whatever reason, I did a lot on this page. I did the crazy boy on the sticker before. I'm doing the let me hear you roar with the alphas, and I just rounded the corners of that photo just to give it a little bit of something different on there. I just kind of do whatever looks good to me. I don't really follow any rules of any kind. I'm adding a bit of blue on here because there is not any blue on this card at all. And the rest of the layout has a decent amount of blue on it. So I wanted to make sure that I have that color here as well. If I had washi tape of the right color, I would have used it, but I didn't. So that's why that gold washi tape got used. Okay, now I'm going to work on the 3x4 cards in the middle. I only have this one photo, this 3x4 photo, and then I had this little piece that I wanted to use kind of as a filler card, and it says, "Families are forever." Now I just have to figure out what I'm going to use as the background in these 3x4 cards, or these 3x4 spaces. I didn't pull out that many actual Project Life cards when I was making this kit together, so I'm going to use some of the scraps of paper I have to cut up and make my own 3x4 cards, which is perfectly fine with me. It's just a great way to use some of the papers I have. I'm going to use this really cool kind of red and pinkish polka dot. I love it. I think it's probably one of my favorite papers in this, well, that I've had in a while. And so I'm kind of conserving, which is a bad thing because I should just use it so I can move on to another favorite. But I like to have it, so I'm going to use it sparingly here. And as I've mentioned before, I like to try my cards before I really go into too much embellishment because they don't always fit in. They're not always a true 3x4 slot in these pocketed page protectors here. So that's something to keep in mind. I know some people buy the exact same brand every single time so they know what to do with each one, but I am one that's going to buy them when they're on sale or when I can get a good deal on them because I like to have variety. I like them to not always be the same design A. I like the different ones. I use the design A a lot, but I like having options as well. So I would just advise to test your cards in the slot before you go through too much trouble of getting them embellished. I haven't ever really had any problem with the 4x6 slots. It's just the 3x4 slots in the middle. I want to use this blue paper because I want to make sure I bring some blue in on the middle row, and I'm pulling out some Project Life cards here to see if I can find something that would be a good fit. And I just pulled these out of my stash. They were not in the little mini kit I had set up, like I said. So I found this Christmas one, and I'm going to cover up that little Christmas or the little holly leaf. But it's the perfect match to this. It has kind of whites and creams, and then it's got this blue kind of tab on it, so it's perfect. And then I have this one that's a snowflake, and I'm going to use it because it says let it snow, but it's a perfect background, a perfect blue for this layout. It matches amazingly. So I'm just going to put my little families are forever right in the center of that, but it brings in the brown wood grain, and it also brings in that beautiful blue. So it's going to make its way. I have Christmas going on in August here. Hey, whatever works. It's definitely not cold anywhere near me in August, but what's to say? It's like, early spring here right now as I'm scrapbooking these pictures, so some days are quite cold. So maybe that's where I got my inspiration from. I don't know. But I'm using a manufacturer's strip here because I can't seem to throw those away either. I like to hang on to them. I'm going to use them kind of on the behind this little, I guess it's I don't think it's a two, maybe it's a 2 by 2. Looks like it's smaller than a 2 by 2. It may be a 2 by 2 block, but that says that families are forever. But I'm going to use the manufacturer strip that I cut into banners behind it, kind of as a grounding element, so they're not that little square is not just floating in the middle. Then I have this sticker that I love that looks like a stamp that I'm going to put on top of this red card on the right. And it has these hearts and these flowers on it. And it says too cute. It's just so cute. I love it. And I just took that little puffy circle sticker and covered up my holly leaf. But it brings in a bit of red on that card as well, since there are some significant areas of red on this spread. I'm adding a few of these craft labels just to add a tad bit of journaling, and then I'm going to journal on this card. You guys can definitely read my journaling if you want. There's nothing real private about it. If there was, I wouldn't put it on here. So you can read it at the end if you like. Sometimes I hate my handwriting. Sometimes I like it. It depends on my mood at the time. If I feel like I want to type it, I usually do that before I sit down and scrapbook because I kind of know what I want and where I want it. If I am kind of in the moment and I didn't really pre-plan it, I'm going to handwrite it because for me, typing takes a little bit of forethought. And when I'm in the mood to scrapbook, I don't want to have to get up and down, up and down, up and down all the time to go back and forth to the computer. So that's just my thing. I was starting to put all the cards in the slots, and then I realized, oh, I need to put some of those rhinestones on there so it matches, and it adds just a little bit more. So this is going to finish up this spread once I get these rhinestones down. I'm just kind of scattering them about. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. I'm just kind of moving them around. If you can find these little rhinestone words, like this one says ho ho ho. I got it after Christmas. I want to say for like 5 cents or something ridiculous. So I don't mind cutting them up and using them. It's just an easy way to have some rhinestones, and they're already adhesive, so you don't have to try to figure out how to glue them down. I just cut them apart off of the word. All right, and that is going to complete the layout. Let me know if you guys have any questions at all, and thanks for joining me today. Bye.